You are standing in your backyard on a Tuesday morning. There is a line of ants moving towards your garden bed. Not 10, not 50, hundreds moving in a dark ribbon. You watch for 5 minutes. The line does not break. By evening, they have built a mound the size of a grapefruit. By next week, you have 3 mounds, each one spreading. An exterminator quoted you $240. I have spent 30 years studying ant colonies in the field. My grandfather worked in soil biology before I was born. He taught me to look at what ants do to systems. Today I am going to show you how to end a colony in under 2 minutes. You will spend less than $1. No chemicals, no mixing. Stay with me, because the part that surprises most people, how the workers themselves carry the kill back inside, that changes everything. You are standing at the colony entrance now. Early morning, before heat. The ants are groggy. Their trails are visible in the damp soil. Open a bag of food-grade diatomaceous earth. This is fossilized diatom shells, powdered. It is white, fine, lighter than flour. It costs roughly $1 a dose in bulk. This powder works through pure physics, not poison, no resistance, no adaptation. The edges of each particle are sharp at the microscopic level. When an ant walks through this powder, those edges cut the waxy coating that holds their moisture in. The insect dries from the inside out within 24 to 48 hours. Now, the strategy. You are not trying to bury the colony. A light dusting is far more effective than a thick pile. Ants avoid heavy powder and simply reroute around it. Instead, create a thin line across their main foraging trail, maybe 6 inches wide, maybe less. Do this where they enter. Do this where they exit. Do this around the mound's perimeter. The moment an ant steps through, the powder adheres to its exoskeleton. It carries the particles back into the nest on its body. Other ants touch the contaminated worker. The powder spreads. You have just weaponized the colony's own traffic against itself. The whole operation takes less than 2 minutes from first application to finish. But here is what happens next that most people miss entirely. The powder does not stop at the workers. It reaches deeper. But to understand why this method works faster than anything exterminators deploy, you need to know how the powder actually moves through the colony. That is where the real mechanism reveals itself. You have placed the powder on the trails now. The workers are finding it. Watch what happens next. This is where the mechanism reveals itself. The ant does not die on contact, like you might expect. Instead, the powder clings to its exoskeleton, the outer shell that holds the insect together. That shell is waxy, smooth, designed to lock moisture in. Diatomaceous earth is ancient diatom skeletons, sharper than you can feel with your finger. The particles abrade that waxy coating, tiny scratches, invisible to the eye. Now the ant's body cannot hold water. It begins to desiccate from the inside. But here is the part most people miss while they are watching the surface die. The living workers are already carrying that powder back toward the nest. They groom it from each other. They carry it on their legs and antennae. Your grandfather understood this, and I learned it from his journals. Inside the colony, workers share food mouth to mouth, a process called trophallaxis. That shared food is how information travels. That shared food is how poison travels. Some of my colleagues use boric acid powder instead, which works as a stomach poison. The mechanism is different, but the pathway is identical. The workers feed the colony. The queen receives the contaminated food. She receives it from her own daughters. A queen ant is the heart of everything. No queen, no colony reproduction. She can lay thousands of eggs, but she cannot lay any if she is dead. And I have to be honest with you about the timing. 24 hours is not enough time for a full colony extinction in most cases. Real elimination takes days, sometimes a week, depending on the colony size. The boric acid must be slow enough that foragers survive the journey home. Too fast, and they die outside the nest. The colony never receives the dose. Too slow, and they sense something wrong and abandon the bait entirely. This is why the old method I showed you, the light dusting on the trails, matters. The workers cannot tell it is killing them until it is too late. They process it as ordinary dust. They carry it deeper. By the time the queen dies, the workers have no way to stop it. But the law sees this powder differently than you might expect. And that is where your real problem begins. Now that the powder is working inside the colony, here is what stops most people cold. You cannot simply buy diatomaceous earth and expect no questions asked. The regulation is real, and it moves faster than most backyard exterminators realize. Food-grade DE sits in a legal gray zone that shifts state by state. I have watched people order online only to find their state flagged the shipment. Federal law governs pesticides through FIFRA, the Insecticide, Fungicide, and Rodenticide Act. The EPA registers products, but states layer their own restrictions on top. Some states tighten rules for indoor use, others for food contact surfaces. Before you buy anything, you need to know exactly what your state permits. Pull up your State Department of Agriculture website right now. Search for diatomaceous earth and ant control specifically. You will find a PDF or a phone number. Nothing glamorous. Call that number. Ask one simple question. Can I apply food-grade DE outdoors on my property? Write down the answer. Get a name if you can. This step takes 15 minutes and saves you a return shipment or worse. Now, here is where it gets interesting. Even within permitted states, retailers have their own liability concerns. Some online sellers will not ship to certain zip codes or require signatures. Others simply stopped carrying the product to avoid compliance headaches. That does not mean it is banned. It means the supply chain got cautious. I source mine through agricultural suppliers, not garden centers. A feed store or farm co-op in your county likely stocks it under a different name. Look for diatomaceous earth for animal feed or livestock dust. It is the same powder, same mechanism, different label. Local sourcing also means no shipping delays, no carrier refusals. You walk in, you buy it, you leave with a 50-pound bag for $12. Do not overthink the legal layer. It exists to protect water and children. But understand it before you apply, because the powder you deploy tomorrow depends on knowing the rules today. The queen is waiting, but rushing past this step invites a problem you cannot undo. With your source confirmed and bag in hand, one final move separates success from failure. You have applied the powder 24 hours ago, and you are standing in your yard at dawn. The ant trail you dusted is still visible, thinner now, with fewer workers moving. This is the moment most people make the mistake that costs them everything. You see fewer ants and think the job is done. You stop, you wait. But here is what you cannot see. The queen is still laying eggs in the chamber below. Workers died carrying the powder inward. Yes, the queen felt the stress, but she is alive. And I need to tell you what happens next, because this is the part that separates success from failure. A fire ant queen lays 1,500 to 1,800 eggs every single day, every day. By day 3, those eggs hatch into larvae. By day 5, you have fresh workers emerging. Within 2 weeks, if the queen survives, the colony is back to 50,000 strong. You did not kill the colony. You thinned it. You gave it a wound it can heal. This is why the exterminators never tell you to stop after the first application. Now, remember the twist I promised at the start. Here it is. The highest value moment to finish the job is not day 1. It is day 2, right now. On day 2, the surviving workers are frantic. They are foraging harder than any other moment. The colony is stressed. The queen is alive, but the worker population has dropped. This is when you rebait in exactly the same trails with fresh bait. The desperate foragers carry it deeper than they did on day 1. The trophallaxis happens faster because the colony is hungry and desperate to feed the queen. 48 hours from now, the queen is dead. The larvae stop developing, but colony ends. But if you stop at day 1, if you see fewer ants and declare victory, you have done nothing. Look at what we have just walked through. The powder works by mechanism, not magic. The bait spreads by trophallaxis, mouth to mouth, through the colony, reaching the queen. The queen is the colony. Kill her and the superorganism collapses. Fail to reach her and you have wasted the powder and the moment. Legal sourcing matters because you need the right concentration, applied at the right time, in the right sequence. And the sequence is the thing that wins or loses the entire game. Go back to your yard tomorrow. Look at those same trails. Dust them again, lightly. Set a reminder for 48 hours from application. Do not check before then. Then, walk that trail one more time and ask yourself, how many ants do I see now? I read every comment you send, and I want to know, did you stop too early on your first try? If this changes how you see the small wars in your own yard, that is all I hoped for.